Hi, and welcome to Accidental Thoughts. I'm Jason, and
And
Jimmy's
I'm
already
trying
lost.
to gather myself.
We had a little snafu again right before we were fixing to press record.
Oh, it was
Flickered off.
oh, it was beautiful.
I don't know if Elon hates us right now or what, but that was just too good, Lord.
Oh, man,
Uh,
God,
I don't even know how to think about that, honestly.
that was priceless, man. I was just like,
That was that was pretty
I'm
crazy.
sorry.
That was nuts, to say the least.
You ever? It's like when you have them people that wear Bluetooth and they're walking around and work all day and they're talking to themselves. I'm sitting here talking, like
Oh, like
looking at
me.
the screen, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What the hell's wrong with you? Well, you're awful still. Wait a minute."
Right. Was it like this?
Yeah, it was like that. I mean, it was no, you're putting your hat on, and it was like you were trying to, like, see
Uh huh.
through it or something. You're like, like that, and I'm like, "The hell are you do why are you s put the damn hat on.
Oh,
What
I
the hell are
probably
you
should have
doing?"
put my headphones.
I'm taking my hat off. My head hurts my head.
Ah,
My head hurts now from laughing so damn much. We're only, like,
I
a
about
minute and a
here,
half into this, and my head hurts.
right?
Oh, man.
Right. So for a change, I actually came up with an idea for something to talk about. Unless you think you got something better, I
I'm
kind
good.
of ran a little bit for you. Yeah. Well, no, I mean Jimmy comes up with most of the content ideas, whether it be off the cuff or whatever.
I'm
I
just
ran
one
across
step
something this
short of
week, and I
setting
sent you a
myself on
picture.
so on let her rip,
Well,
tater
I ran
chip.
across something talked about a weird unit of measurement and decided to look into it more. Apparently, a buttload is an actual unit of measurement, talking about a whiskey barrel up to the filled to the butt and equals, I believe, 126 gallons
So
of whiskey.
if
Actual unit of measurement.
so you mean to tell me if somebody tells you, "Man, that was a buttload," that's supposed to be 126 gallons?
126 gallons
How many people how many
up
people
to
are
the
gonna
butt of a barrel.
so if you're like if you're in the restroom and you hear somebody in the other stall, "Oh, that's gonna be a buttload." You like trying to get the hell out of there like,
Better be
"I know that.
some
Come on,
flooding.
can't do this. I need to get
Anyway,
out of
I
here."
found so humorous that I started looking up other things. I mean, we've heard about, things like Scovilles. Everybody knows the Scoville scale that lives in South Texas. For those of you who don't and don't ever eat spicy food, it's a measurement of spice. So
Right.
we got the Scoville heat unit, or the SHU, as they call it. Uh, yeah, SHU, SHU. Um, we've got other things that I brought by you. Units of length, for instance, a smoot. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Smoot, SMOO. It's a
A smoot?
unit of length named after Oliver Smoot, who
Hmm,
measured the length of the Massachusetts Avenue Bridge with his body length as a prank. And it's now
okay.
an official measurement of length based on his height that he used to measure the length. In other words, laid end to end to end. And how many smoots would it take to make that bridge?
Smoots.
It'd be like you or me saying, like me, for instance, that was 17 Jasons. And we use that all the time. We don't even think about it when you get down to it. How many times have you told your kids, a giraffe's like 3 times me, or,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that,
mean,
and use yourself as a reference. And the only difference is this guy did it and it stuck.
if it's stuck,
So
how is it that we've never really heard of it? I mean, when did this happen?
it's weird, quirky name for a
But
unit
when
of
did he
measurement.
do this? When did he do this?
That's a good question. I can look.
Doesn't sound like you were
Um,
very prepared.
well, no, I mean, I have to pull this stuff up as we go.
I got a buttload of shit going on. We need to hurry up.
You got a buttload of, okay, good for you. I
Better
don't know
hurry
when this
before
happened.
Elon gets a hold of us again. We're one for one. There ain't no telling what's gonna happen next.
Post that they talk about it. Mine just says August 2023.
I don't think that would have been. I mean, who would care now? I mean,
Well, he was an MIT grad. So
And you mean to tell me that
And it's
this
actually
this dude,
in paint.
this smoot or whatever, his whatever is supposedly now a, I guess you could say, a tangible measurement of length.
Yes. If you look here, it's actually
364.4 smoots plus, give or take,
is the length of the bridge he measured.
give or take
He laid
one
himself
ear. What the
down
hell does
over and
that
over
mean?
across the Avenue Bridge.
Yeah,
Plus or
read
minus
that.
one ear. His ear.
Yeah.
His ear.
Are you sick?
So the reason it stuck, I guess, is because of the entirety of that.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing
I
is,
know.
think about this. If it's a
Anyway,
measurement of its
that's your
height,
scoop that you asked.
how is your ear going to be higher than the rest of your body? I
Uh
mean,
huh.
I don't see how.
Well, not higher. He's just saying, by the time he got to the end, laying himself down end to end, he was
Yeah.
like, it might be an ear, ear width. So would be my guess. So plus or minus an ear width. But anyway, apparently it's stuck enough that it's now listed all over the interwebs based on that.
The buttload one I
So
could go with.
buttload,
Yeah, 126 gallons. I don't know about. I never heard that part, but
right?
I guess you
Well,
have to give a smoot.
yeah. Well, original measurement of barley grain, originally based on the size of a barley grain, now a third of an inch, is called a barley corn, and it's used in shoe sizing to this day.
Hmm.
So there's something a little more relatable for you, but it's called a barley corn, based on
A
the size of a
barley
barley grain.
corn.
Barley corn. Some of these are just really weird. We go back to the volume stuff, like the buttload. There's a hogshead volume,
Okay.
which is equal to 63 gallons. So
Why
that
would
still
that
sounds like a
even?
buttload.
Who would care? Who would use that? This sounds like something
Well,
like this, like some dude in Deliverance come up with. Hey, how much you gonna make out of that steel today? Buttload. You sure ain't a hogshead worth?
exactly.
Where is these coming from? Who?
Somebody made them up at one point in time for a certain
But
industry,
it
and they
sticks.
just
It's actually
it's used. Like the butt, not a butt load, but a butt is two hogsheads, which is
uh
roughly butt load.
okay.
So
So one hog head is what again?
is 63 gallons.
So you're
63
saying a
gallons,
butt is
and a load
126
or
gallons.
or butt load is two hogsheads, 126 gallons. These are actual volume
Oh
measurements.
my god, that is so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you've heard of, an RCH. All guys have heard of an RCH.
Mm,
No? Really?
nope.
RCH. Red
Are
cunt hair?
okay. Nope.
You never heard of that? It's like a 64th of an inch.
Yeah. Thank you for
Used
enlightening
in
me with
cabinet
that just
making.
now. I said thank you for
Yeah.
enlightening me with that just now. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. I
Right?
feel
Well, there's also stuff,
a whole buttload better.
right? This one oughta mess with you a little bit.
Okay.
An area measurement of barn. What do you
Area
think it's
measure?
actually used in? Barn.
I don't know.
This one I may not be able to explain in common words, but it's basically used in nuclear physics, talking about the area of expansion, I guess, of the nuclear fission
Oh,
that
okay.
happens.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure, but it's 10 with the up arrow power negative 28 square meters used in physics, in
Hmm.
nuclear physics specifically.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, there's a SIDHARB too.
What?
SYDHARB. Okay. A
And
SIDHARB is a unit of volume equal to the volume of water in Sydney Harbor, 500 gigaliters
okay.
of water.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, back to some of the fun ones, like I told you earlier. There's a beard second, as in this right here.
Right.
this beard. It's based on the measurements inspired by and parroting the light year, which is the distance light can travel in 1 year. The
Right.
exact measurement is a nanometer or certain amount of nanometers per second that a beard actually grows.
Hmm.
So that's a beard second.
Weird second.
Yep.
Okay.
Now this one's a little Disney inspired. Another one, a Mickey, as in Mickey Mouse. And you know what? I just realized something. My light didn't come back on with the power.
Maybe you
There we
didn't pay
go.
your bill.
Uh, no, just the ring light didn't come back on. But anyway, one Mickey, named after Mickey Mouse, is the smallest detectable movement of a computer mouse.
Right. I've heard that one before. I've heard that one
One,
before somewhere. Yeah. I think I saw it on History Channel one time or something.
right? We've heard of hands too, commonly used in measurement of horses' heights. Hand over hand.
Yeah,
This
I've heard
horse
that
is this
before.
many hands tall. Yeah. Okay. I've never heard this one. A nibble. A nibble is one of the more commonly known, apparently, units of measure within the list. A nibble is a computing term for half of the standard byte, BYTE. So
Okay.
we're operating in megabytes and gigabytes and all that today, but half of a singular byte is called a nibble.
Okay. Yeah. It seems
The
like with all
banana.
of this, with the names, you know, that are like some you may have
Seems like they're
heard.
very specific to
Well, it's almost like you have to be
certain.
bilingual to understand it. I mean, it's
Some of
like,
it, yeah,
what? I mean, I don't know. I
exactly.
mean, I mean, so like, what is that? What does that mean? I mean, just like a minute ago when you were saying, the hoghead and the buttload, and it's just like, I mean, that just sounds like like I said earlier, kind of like a backwoods hillbilly kind of a measurement or something like that. And
Right.
the
The
nibble,
buttload
I,
sounds
I could
awesome.
see that. I mean, because of the fact of a
Yeah.
computer, and the Mickey, you know,
Right.
but I could see it also, like I said, you would, it's like you'd have to be, I mean, well, let me ask you this. I don't know how you would even look it up or whatever, but I just said the word a minute ago, bilingual. Is that
Yep.
only is that only reserved for the fact of a language? Let's say, for instance, if you, for example, let's just say that you see somebody doing their thing and whatever they're doing, and you can tell, like, they don't look like they're in the right frame of mind at that moment, like either, constipated or aggravated or whatever it may be. If you're reading
Right.
body language, because body
Okay.
language, wouldn't
Yeah.
that make you bilingual? I'm just saying.
But the word bilingual, it means two and refers to the tongue. So
Correct. Right. But at
so
the same
lingual is
time,
it refers to
so
the
what would you
tongue.
call that? Insightful? You would just call it
Uh,
insightful? That
along
guy
those
there
lines would
looks
be
like
more.
he's got a buttload of something going on in him right now. I mean, I
I call that
maybe, I don't know.
observational awareness, maybe.
Yeah,
Who knows?
he is locked at the knees. You know what he is? He's got a hog
He's
head
got a
leaking.
right. Yeah, the
I'm
hog
just
kind works.
saying.
You take off the head part.
But you can.
That's okay.
I'm just. Well, I'm thinking in the sense of the terms you were using. It's almost a sense of, you know, does it sound like it fits with what you're saying? I mean, when you say a unit of measurement, I mean, in different languages, you say it a different way. But in English, you say, a foot, okay, or inches,
Yep.
or
Foot or
you have
inch
these,
or quarters.
right. Then when you use these,
Yep.
other terms, you're saying that a buttload is basically 126 gallons.
Gallon. It's a
Right.
liquid
But
measurement.
right, it's a liquid measurement. But gallons is a measurement in and of itself. You're just saying that a buttload is how we register
How the
126 gallons.
whiskey or certain hogshead cheese, who knows?
Right.
But it refers to a whiskey cask, so a
Right.
whiskey barrel.
So
So,
you're saying that a wooden whiskey
uh,
barrel holds
the
126
butt
gallons?
barrel. I'm saying that what they're saying is yes, the big whiskey barrels that the manufacturer, yeah, most of them are we think of as 55 gallons or so,
Right.
but they have a unit. They probably have larger casks on site that are when they're still doing the distilling processes and stuff and
Right.
backing it back and forth between the bigger ones and the smaller ones. They probably have ones that hold 126 gallons. Think about it. It's
I'd
not
love to see
really
one
that
of them.
far. I
They got a picture of
would
one?
too.
They got a picture
I'll tell
online
you
of a
what, go to Tennessee this year. I'll make it a point to stop by one of the distilleries there and see.
there's not a picture online? I'm gonna look. I want to see what this thing, a 126-gallon barrel. I have never seen
Let's
anything
see.
like that. I don't even know how you'd move it.
Well, they make fish tanks that big, so
Yeah, but
look at
man,
that. It is actually a
nobody's gonna buy a buttload of fish water. I mean,
500 liter. They're $400 on Etsy.
what is? What is?
132-gallon Puncheon oak wine barrel.
Hmm.
So let me see if I can find just a good picture of one.
So what would
Looks
that
like
make
any other
that?
barrel, just bigger.
So wouldn't that make that a buttload and a smidgen or a niblet?
Niblet, yeah, no, a buttload and a hogshead. Remember,
I'd be
it's not the
worried.
clearest picture, but I'm going to show you something here. It's not the clearest picture, but I'll show you something here. Okay,
Oh
where is it?
Lord,
All right, this is off
this
of
something's
Wikipedia. It gives you an idea. This is a ton,
what?
TUN,
Right,
a ton size barrel, a
right,
pipe or a butt half ton,
right,
a puncheon tertian, a third ton, a hogshead quarter ton. So that times two equals that, which is what we started with. A
right,
tierce, I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced, y'all, is a sixth ton. So six of those makes one of the big ones. Three of them, I imagine, make the pipe or somewhere thereabout.
right.
The butt, a barrel, which is an eighth ton, TUN again, not TON,
Why is it
and a
T?
rundlet. I don't know, but we can look that up. But there's your different whiskey cask.
What's that last one? What's that say? Runlet?
The very last one, rundlet,
Runlet.
RUNDLE.
I'm gonna make a runlet.
All right. So what we'll
I'm gonna
do
make a
is we'll
runlet
look
for the
up
wiki.
which one were
Why is
you
it
you were wondering about the
TUN?
ton.
Well, what
Yeah,
the
it's a good question.
ton?
Let's find out.
This had to be something way back then because you think about this. Ton, we see it as TON, not TUN. And here
Yep.
we are talking about a buttload and a hog head. And it's like, man, what the?
Well, according to Wikipedia, they
Oh,
were
yeah.
originally used tobacco. A tobacco hogshead was used in British and American colonial times to transport and store tobacco. It was a very large wooden barrel. A standardized hogshead measured 48 inches long and 30 inches in diameter at the head. So 121 imperial gallons or 145 US gallons, depending on the width in the middle.
So why
Fully
is it
packed with
T?
tobacco. It weighed, well, remember, that's a half ton. TUN. Fully packed with tobacco, it weighed about 1,000 pounds or half a ton. Why it's written TUN, I'm not seeing that.
Okay, why is it? Why? Okay, you just read about the hog head. Why is that used?
It was used to transport and protect tobacco.
No. Why is the word hog head? You said it. Why did they use that word hog head?
That I don't know.
It just seems
I
odd.
that
I mean,
the ton TUN
right.
came from the trees of the genus Tuna, Toona. So it was either a ton or a toonwood. Just saying.
I drive a half Toonyard pickup.
Exactly.
I guess it does
Tune
sound better.
unit, an
But why a
antiquated
hoghead?
measurement of
Why a hoghead? I mean,
why. You might as well ask them why they spoke Old English and wrote in Sanskrit
well,
all the time.
think about it. You said that a hoghead was what, 58 gallons?
Uh huh.
Something like that?
Hogshead was again 121 imperial
I thought
gallons or 145 U.S. gallons,
I thought you said that's what a buttload
depending
was.
on the width in the
I thought
middle.
that was
Well, the
buttload.
butt load would be it measured up to 126 gallons.
Okay, so I thought you said it was two hogheads.
The butt to the butt of the barrel.
I don't know if I'll ever remember any of this.
Yeah,
Why though?
that's why we're
Why did they
doing
use
it
the
for
word
posterity.
hoghead? What was the hoghead for? Why the word hoghead?
It was standardized by an act of parliament.
Because you're sitting there
Man,
saying
why are
it's
you asking?
X amount of gallons. Surely somebody didn't sit there and say, well, you know what? How much does this hoghead hold? I mean,
Well,
why a
believe it or
hoghead?
not, hogshead was also used as a unit of measurement for sugar in Louisiana for most of the 19th century, even.
Again, that's trial and error. You know that's got to be trial and error. You mean tell me that somebody sit there, okay, fill this up and see what happens? That don't even make sense. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know why they used a hogshead. There is so much information on how to convert it to the other sizes, like a gallon, a firkin, a kilderkin,
Settle
a
down.
barrel, a
Settle
hogshead,
down. Watch what you're saying there. That
a
could be
firkin.
misinterpreted there.
No, a firkin, Firkin.
I know.
It
There's
was
some
a
people on it.
standardized
Some people
unit
miss
of
them.
English.
They may not understand what you're saying.
Firkin. Firkin here.
They, I don't know. They may cut your power off again. Better be careful.
Hey, that don't happen more than twice in 2 weeks. I'm looking just to make sure it doesn't happen again. All right,
Just so that
derived.
everybody knows, I
It
am not
doesn't.
affiliated with the guy on the other side. This is
Right.
against my will and part of an agreement that I am just fulfilling.
But
That's a buttload of shit.
I guess it was a way. It was a way. From everything I can gather, the reason they used hogshead is that they didn't have to convert from liters to gallons to imperial gallons to all of that. So it was a way to standardize for commercial sale a unit of measurement
When? When?
that was equivalent in early colonial times
Okay.
when things were transported by ship.
When
So,
things are thick as what?
and the etymology noted the origin to be found in the name for a cask of liquid, and it was
Yeah.
just in Germanic languages. Dutch, oxhoofd, Danish, oxehoofd, Swedish, oxhoofd, and 1911 conjectured that the word should therefore be oxhead or hogshead, being a mere corruption of it. So it was meant to be an ox head originally.
When did you come across this? Just by
I came across the meme and then just looked it up quickly. Didn't do a whole bunch of study on that one. I just was like, what other weird measurements are there?
Oh, okay. I thought maybe
So
you heard somebody say that or something. I mean, I've heard people, I mean, hell, I've even used the word buttload, but the hoghead one, I'm just kind of like, "Meh,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't see that one
Well,
so
hoghead
much.
is half a buttload. So a
Yeah. I guess you have to
hogshead is
give a
just a
smoot
half a
to
buttload.
actually
So if you got a
understand it.
lesser food to take, I just gotta go dump off a hogshead.
Yeah. I don't give a smoot. Go do what you got to do.
Well, you've heard also over the years, I'll be back in a jiffy. You
Yeah.
ever said that?
Yes.
Be back in a jiff. Jiffy is used a unit of time used in computing, believe it or not.
Mm.
Has to do with the computer's clock cycle. It's about 10 milliseconds.
I have to disagree
10
with
meters
this
of
one because
a second.
computers have not been around a long time. And yet I have heard jiffy. I mean, my grandparents, I remember my grandma saying, I'll be back in a jiff. And she never had a
Yeah.
cell phone, a computer, none of that. So
Well,
they
it means in a very
they
short
basically adapted that, I would have to
Yeah,
say.
they did. Kinda like they did the Mickey. I mean, think about it.
Right.
Everything in computers
Right.
from something.
Right. So
So,
you mean tell me some millennial or generation, whatever Z, wherever the hell we're at now, is one that come up with some of this
they
stuff?
use it well, no, they use it in a lot of scientific context.
Right.
It's used in
But the
physics,
jiffy
and
was
electronics,
before that.
computer animation, and quantum physics. It's a real-time unit of time, 1/100th of a second to be precise.
Right.
Earliest technical usage was late 19th century by Gilbert Newton Lewis.
Right.
He proposed a unit of time called the jiffy was equal to the time it takes light to travel 1 centimeter in a vacuum in space, essentially.
Okay. See,
Approximately
that's
33.3564
yeah. So
picoseconds.
you're just saying it in the sense of, I'll be back real quick. That's
Re-
fine.
Yes.
Right. That's
It'd
fine.
be like, I'll be
But
right
to adapt it
back.
over to something else, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. I mean, a lot of these things, like those words there, the other ones, like a buttload. Okay,
You heard
that
them
I could,
growing up.
yeah, we've heard that one. I mean, the hoghead, no, I've never heard the hoghead one before in my life, or the smoot. I never heard the smoot before either, but
I
I
hadn't
have
heard
heard
of the
the
smoot, but
jiffy.
looking into that one, yeah,
Yeah, the jiffy. Yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard stuff like that, or
I'm
stuff
honestly
like that.
surprised you coming construction background. You never heard of an RCH though. I really am surprised by that. That was a
I'm older
very
now.
common thing.
I'm older.
Yeah, well, yeah, we don't use terms like that because we don't build cabinets no more. But,
But
but
I ain't gonna use it.
it's a buttload of uses for that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. It'll get you in a whole buttload of smoot if you ain't too careful using it either. So last thing I need is
Exactly,
that. But anyway,
exactly. You ready for one last fun fact about a jiffy?
a jiffy. Okay.
A
Well, make
jiffy.
it
How many?
jiffy.
How many jiffies are in a second? By the standard unit of measure he came up for the time, about 300
Wow. That was gonna be my second guess.
jiffies in a second.
My first guess was probably a buttload. that, was, that was gonna be my first guess.
It's probably more of the bigger one, the ton,
Yeah.
the full ton,
Yeah.
ton,
Major
ton.
buttload.
Right?
But
Exactly.
I have to say though, I mean, I don't know. There are some things that that you could take words, and I mean that's basically what that was. I mean that is words that you've taken and said, okay, we're going to call this this, and we're going to call this this, and it's basically trying to give a different word to something that already has it, you know,
Right.
and it's like I said, I haven't heard. I mean, I've heard some of them, some I could probably go without. I mean, I will never ever use smoot or
Yeah.
hogshead.
I
I
don't
mean,
think I
that's
would
not,
either.
yeah.
I
How
don't
much gas
know.
do
I
you get
might
in your
use
truck?
buttload.
I got about
A
a
buttload.
hogshead and a smoot.
Yeah. Hoghead and the sweet and the Mickey. Don't forget the Mickey.
Yeah. Now get out of my way, man.
I got
Can you move over just a
one last
nibble? Just move over a nibble. Go ahead.
right. I got one last unit of measurement we got to go over just because I've heard this one before and I didn't realize what it was specifically until I looked it up earlier. The banana equivalent dose. Know what it's
Okay,
about?
I don't.
I'd heard of it. Okay. It's a unit of measurement of ionizing radiation. In other words, background radiation that we're exposed to every day through light and sun and this and that and the other. And it compares a dose of radioactivity to the dose one is exposed to eating an average sized banana because everything has background ionizing radiation in it, and bananas have a very tiny amount of ionized radiation in them.
Right, I've
So
heard that,
it's
but
a way of measuring equivalent to the banana, to one banana,
mm,
what dose you've gotten from, say, standing in front of the microwave. You've gotten 100 times the dose of a banana, you know.
oh
But
my goodness.
it's literally a unit used in measuring ionic and ion
Right.
radiation,
Mm,
and it
that will
it's
carry over.
relatively accurate.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I'd
So for all you banana loving nuts, they're radiated. No, slightly.
okay, that just
And
went
well, it
kind of
has to do with potassium 40.
crazy.
Potassium 40. Bananas have a lot of potassium in them. They have
Well,
potassium
yeah, I
40 in
mean,
them, which is an ionized radiation source. So, one banana equivalent or bed dose is often correlated to 10 to the negative seventh sievert, so which measures the risk of the ionizing radiation.
hmm.
So, just a little tidbit to feed you there. There's another good one we should have looked up. Tidbit. Okay. 'Cause I know everybody's going to bug us if we don't. A
Who's
small piece of
everybody?
cake.
Is
The
there a
42
buttload I'm
people.
not seeing here?
No, just a hogshead. Just a hogshead. Anyway, with that, we've pretty much come to the end of the night again without ever really teaching you shiza.
What unit of measure is
But,
that?
well, you don't want to know about that shiza.
Exactly how far is
It's a
the poo up on your jeans is that measurement? Oh, okay. That that fills
it's
in
the
the
one
blank.
when you actually stand up and go, "Oh, shiza," then you know.
I was waiting for you to say something like, you know, some word like that. Oh, damn it. Some word like that, like shizer or whatever. And I was gonna say, okay, what are you gonna tell me? That's like exactly how much dog poo you can put in a sack, set it on fire, and every foot you
No, no,
throw it is a shiza. It's like, what?
it's
That's what I was
directly
waiting for
related
you to
to
give me. And I was like, I'm waiting. I was like, there's going to be one of these left fields. Like, what in the hell are we looking at?
now, I kind of led with the left field being the buttload,
Oh, I
unfortunately,
mean,
but
yeah.
it was a segue into looking up some weird names for different
Well,
measurements. But
that's a
anyway,
tidbit, and we just did it.
yep, and we did it, and it's all there is to it. We want to thank you again for liking, subscribing, sharing, and commenting on
Yeah.
Accidental Thoughts. Let us
And
know
if
in the
you wait
comments
next
what you'd like.
time, you might be able to see the power go out
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
If you could only see what it was like, it's like there's no way that this happened just twice. I mean, that is just like I'm like, there's no way. There is no way. Either
Uh,
time, both times there was no storm, no nothing,
no storm.
just
Nothing. Yeah.
nothing.
Well, the wind's been kind of crazy, but
It's just
you know, the wind's been
yeah,
kind of crazy.
yeah. But even then,
But
that was just
once again, this has been Accidental Thoughts. Yeah, that was weird.
all right.
Elon, we won't talk about you no more. You're the awesome Doge
Just
guy, man.
today, just
Today.
today.
Today. When the power goes out again, it's your fault.
Uh,
Anyway, that's all the time we got tonight. This has been Accidental Thoughts. I'm Jason.
I am still Jimmy. Have a good
There
one.
might be a pod somewhere else.
No
Y'all have a
telling.
blessed night.
Just a tidbit.
Brad.